He was born to Miss Tammy Pruitt Jennings and Mr. Troy Edward Smith. He's the older brother of 5 siblings. He's a proud product of right here in the Meridian Public School system, where he graduated from Meridian High in 2011 as class president. Currently, he is a second-year student at Xavier University of Louisiana in New Orleans. His major is political science and his minor is sociology. At Xavier, he is a James S. Kemper Foundation Scholar and a Ronald E. McNair Scholar. He was also appointed as a student congressman to the Xavier student body. While he is the recipient of many scholastic awards, he has told me his most surprising accomplishment is being a lover of God and his people. Without further ado, people, I give to you Mr. DeVon Pruitt.
Good afternoon. I know the weather is not everyone's favorite, although it can stay like this all year to me. I know the parade, a lot of people, I remember growing up and we used to go to parades a few years. We didn't attend the program for one reason only. Sometimes the speaker was a little too long. So I'm going to honor my own wishes and put my timer on here. And we're not going to be long at all because we have a lot going on. This is a 3-day weekend. Some of us are going to Washington, D.C. to witness history all over again. We ask for your prayers. Many of us here will be going to Washington. We ask for your prayers for grace and mercy in traveling, that we get there and come back safely. At this time, I want to thank some very important people in my life. My hands are cold, please forgive me. I want to thank this MLK committee for extending this invitation to me. Particularly the beautiful, gracious, so elegant Miss Margaret Brown for calling me. I was having a real bad day that day at Xavier. I think it was around finals, and she called and told me the news, and it just really lifted my spirit. I really thank you, MLK committee, for that. I want to thank DJ Naylor, who will be my future dentist. You gotta call it how you see it, future dentist. That's a good friend of mine. Thank you for the introduction. I want to recognize my family who's here. Now, I see the ones who I see, so if I miss anyone, it's not intentional. I'm happy to have my mother, Miss Tammy Jennings, here. My father could not make it because of illness. I have one of my sisters, Morgan Elizabeth. I have grandparents here, Miss Nellie Morgan. I have a great-grandmother, Miss Legertha Hall, and I have a great-aunt, Miss Gloria Hall King. And I'm very thankful to have them here with me today. But in giving all thanks, and I know this is not a church event or whatnot, and I do believe in religious tolerance, but I ask that you tolerate me right now as I recognize the presence of God. And I want to thank him for this opportunity to do this, because this is really big for me. They've gotten big wigs, as I call them, to do this, and to get a little old boy from Xavier University, you know, it's a real honor to me, and I thank you for that. Real quick, we're going to keep it real. This is a Martin Luther King event. We know about him. We read every book about him. This is the 50th year of the I Have a Dream speech. We know about Martin Luther King, so I'm just going to be really honest. We have a lot of problems here in Meridian. We're going to get straight to it, and we're going to tackle what's wrong. If he was here, he wouldn't talk about himself. We know the dream. So we're going to get down to it and really get to what is going on here in Meridian with our youth. I ask that you take this speech with open ears and open hearts. I'm not stepping on toes. I'm just trying to move forward. How many of you, I'm talking to the adults here because I'm really focusing at you to help get our kids back. How many of you grew up and your parents or your elders told you children should be seen and not heard? You clapping. Yes, that's how they raised you. Indeed. That's how they told you to stay in a child's place, right? And you believe that, right? So I guess it takes some robberies, some shootings for you to finally see them and hear them. I don't hear the clapping. We were told that we should be seen and not heard. But in recent weeks and recent months, we have been seen and heard. Not so positive, right? We can't go to Walmart because you're scared of people who look like me. You can't go to the grocery store because you're scared of people who look like me. And it's not a stereotype. I know we're trying to bring people together, but let's be real. A stereotype is an assumption based off of prejudice. Let's be real. It's people who look like me. But we were to be seen and not heard. I come to tell you that those days for being seen and not heard are over. This is 2013. We have problems as a generation. And don't just blame us, those bad youth, those bad kids. No. We have problems, and not necessarily all the problems have been brought on by ourselves. And I ask that as I look at this community and as I go in depth of what is happening here, that you realize that you can save us, but you have to see us and hear us. They kind of got a little quiet on that. I said you have to see us and you have to hear us. You can't save something that's furniture. Let's look at how we as a community, I'm talking to the community, my black community here. I'm talking to the community because let's be real. That's what y'all want to make it racial. Let's pull out the race card today. Let's look at the black community and how we view things. We you know, as our community, we look at our youth and we like to blame a lot of things and a lot of people, a lot of institutions here for what's wrong in our community. We love to make that statement, these are our children. These are our youth. This is our future. We use that pronoun our to give possession, but we like to throw their problems off on other people. We like to blame government for what's wrong with our youth. They need to build more parks. They need to make more recreation. It's the government's fault that there's a high crime rate in the black community. It's the government's fault that our kids are not doing well. Everything is on the government. We like to blame leaders. In particular, we like to blame the head of the city because it's their fault. But it's our youth. How can it be the mayor's fault that our kids are not doing what they're supposed to do? They're our kids, right? How is it the city council's fault? They're our kids are not up to par. They passed a sagging ordinance here, and you know, I just love to hear my grandmother when we're riding around, she like, these boys need to pull up their pants. And a lot of you feel that way, don't you? So I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm talking to us, there's nobody here but us, we're all family in here, right? So let's just be real. When the city council passed the sagging ordinance, why were we complaining? We cannot move forward attacking everything. We cannot find everything wrong. Now let's be real. This is Meridian, Mississippi. You know, we live here. It is what it is. There are some things that are wrong. But if you're going to let an institution take what's yours, if you're going to give a government the power over your kids, are they really your kids? You may not like the mayor. That's your democratic right. But the mayor is not the mother of your child. You cannot blame. I know, you know, this is. Let's just be real, and this is election year here in the city of Meridian, and I know that we're gonna have people coming everywhere, and that's fine. That's what makes this a great country. But if you really want to save the youth, I'm talking to everyone here, incumbents, people who want to run, don't use this election and say we're going to reduce crime. Real leaders don't need an office. Don't use city government to stop crime. You get out there with your friends, canvass some neighborhoods, roll down your window and talk to some young people. You don't need an office to save kids. Let us stop blaming city government because that is not the total answer to solving our problems. These are our kids, right? I am Tammy's son, right? Schools. I'm so glad to see, I see two of them here. Two of my ultimate favorite teachers. My fourth grade teacher, Miss Dana Van Vetkoven, who on the last day of school, I cried because I was leaving her class. And I see, now this lady, she's my favorite now, but when I first got in her class, we weren't too cool. Miss Liz Michael, my 9th grade English teacher. And you know, they had two different approaches, and you know, and I'm speaking of my experience now as a youth, and you know, I grew up, let's just be real, every school I've attended, from East End Head Start up to where I am right now, has been predominantly black. Let's put that out there. It's been predominantly black. And they had two different approaches, and while they're my favorite, Miss Van Beckhoven was a very loving, nurturing. We had fun in her class. I remember the water cycle song to this day. Miss Michael came to me real firm. She said, look, I don't know what they told you and how they told you, but you in my class now. And I'm the captain. I grew up, I went to Oakland Heights. I went to Carver. I went to Kate Griffin, which they should have never closed. I went to Meridian High School. And I'm going to say this, Meridian Public Schools District is not 100%. It's not perfect. Yes, there's politics involved. But I went to school and I learned. I didn't grow up in the best side of town. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. Our spoons came from Walmart, just like everybody else's. And you know, this might be somewhat offensive, but you know, I used to work in the office. You know, I used to go in the office and help out when I was not in class. And I'm just telling you what I've seen. You know, we like to bring Meridian Public Schools and the teachers, especially the teachers aren't teaching anything. Let me tell you something. A lot of the teachers I had growing up, they could have had any other job.
Get the camera.
But they chose to teach me. They could have gone anywhere, they could have taught anywhere, done anything they wanted to do, but they chose to teach me. We must stop blaming the schools. Let me tell you something. The answer to the school problem for our youth is not more funding. We come from a generation. We're look around, look at the people with the silver hair. They went to schools at their church. One-room shack, K through 8th grade, in one room with a teacher who could barely read and write herself. But yet they decided that they were going to learn, that they were going to move on. And when they did leave, they went to Jackson State, they went to Alcorn, they went to Valley, but if they had sense, Miss Ramsey, they went to Xavier University. Yet they went. It's not funding. Teachers have iPads, they have all, it's not funding. You can take a stick and a fill of dirt and teach a child. It's not funding. You know why the county schools outperform us here in Meridian Public Schools? I'm going to tell you why. At 10:13 a.m., they know where that child is, who's the teacher, the subject, the lesson being taught. If the child needs help, they arrange tutoring. We must get more involved in the school. Stop clapping, because y'all not going up there Tuesday morning. Stop clapping, you're not going Tuesday morning. You have to have mothers who say, I may not have gotten it, I may have made some mistakes in life, but you're going to get it. I had a mom to call me, and she said, DeVon, just talk to my boy. Just talk to him, because I know the opportunities I missed. And you have to have parents who are willing to say, look, I need some help. You should have every teacher's contact information. I used to hate when my folks came to parent-teacher conference, and don't let the teacher know my grandmother or my mother. My grandmother had a bad habit of saying, if he gets in trouble, take him outside and whip him. And I used to tell the teacher, no, that's against the rules. But why not? It's not the school's fault. All you have to do is go in there, sit down, and get our lesson, but you have to get more involved. Let's stop going up there just when they're suspended. Stop going up there going off on the teacher. Okay, I won't talk so loud. I won't talk so loud. He's feeling it, y'all. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. He's feeling it. It's touching his soul right now. It's touching his soul right now. It's touching his soul right now. Let him use you. Let him use you. You have to be more involved. Stop going up there going off on Miss Overton because your child acted up in class. The child acted up. They got it on camera. We have to do better saving our youth. Community leaders. Community leaders. This is how we can save our youth. We must be more proactive instead of being reactive. Let me tell you, I could not stand when I attended Meridian High. I used to hate opening up the newspaper, the uniform, or watching television with all these people saying that they're not doing anything, this is bad, our kids, they're not loving our kids, they're not teaching our children. But I never saw them walk the halls of MHS. Reverend Steve Moser, where are you? When I used to get off the bus at Kate Griffin, before I saw the principal, before I saw the front door, he was standing right outside, shaking my hand, letting me know that I was a child of God and that I could be somebody. Take off 1 hour of your lunch and go up there and sit with someone who doesn't have a father at home. You cannot lead talking noise. We need you at our schools. Come in and talk to the class for a couple of minutes. The teachers don't mind. We need to see your faces other than in papers and in the media trying to gain resumes. We are hurting. There's a reason why there's a high dropout rate. We are hurting. You are the community. If we are your children, if you want to save us, you have to come and reach us. Church. Looking at the church. How can you save our youth? I'm very critical of churches. Very critical. Because that Jesus that we love so well, and that good Bible and all that mission and all that evangelism, we don't live up to it. The reason why you don't see a lot of people my age in church, I'm going to be real with you. Young people, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all help me out back here. Correct me if I'm wrong. When we walk inside, it's as if a standard is so high that we won't be able to reach it. You're not going to help us reach it. You don't care about us reaching it because you're on the second row and you're going to heaven. I dare you to go to any church at 11 o'clock, and I want you to count how many people my age or younger, or a few years older, who are there. It takes more than youth programs, youth revivals, and Easter speeches. I grew up at Sunlight, and when I was at Sunlight, you know, my folks gave me $2 every Sunday to tithe before I even had a job. And I gave my $2, and I was like, I was going to business meeting. I want to know where my $2 was going. Get us involved in the church. Let me tell you something. The church, and you know, this might sound so wrong, but it's the truth. If you want to network, go to church. It's a good networking opportunity. Go to church. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to prove this point to you. Back in the day, we had those in our African-American community. We had those rehab arrived churches. You know, it was First Union. They had all the educators, the Clarks and everything. And it was, you know, New Hope, the Cornegans went there and all of that. And nowadays, I think it's Mount Olive and Freedom Rock, all those, you know. And we have a lot of young professionals with good degrees and good jobs there. If the announcing clerk is an English teacher, there should be no child who cannot read. If an accountant is the financial secretary, a child who's struggling in Algebra 1 should be able to balance an equation. Open up the family life centers for more than funeral repasts. If you know you work good on cars, men, bring some of those cars down there and show me how to change a tire and how to check if my transmission needs something. If you know that you're good at baking a cake, go in the kitchen and take some of those girls and teach them how to make a cake, some collard greens, some cornbread, and some neck bones. It's not sexist. It's not male chauvinist. It's called mentorship. Back to that possessive noun, out. Pronoun. Help me out, Ms. Michael. They have a study buddy program in Meridian Public Schools. 87, 86% black school district population. You know how many of us study buddy? I'm going to let y'all answer that question. How many of us study buddy? Raise your hand if you're a study buddy. Or used to be a study buddy. Raise them up high. That's not enough study buddies. You churches, Wednesday night, have tutoring session. We need help. We need to see that Jesus that you preach so well on Sunday morning. You see, Jesus, I'm willing to bet, you know, I'm just willing to bet that if he was here today, he would SMH, shake my hand. We have to be more involved. Open your doors. If the skirt is too short, show them Jesus. They'll buy a longer one. If their pants are sagging, show them Jesus. They will pull them up. Bishop Brown, I'm willing to bet that if a young brother with his pants down, when he came into your presence, he automatically pulled his pants up, did he? That kind of stuff happens when you show them Jesus. Parents, we are yours. I thank God for my upbringing. Sometimes we don't get along. You should see me and my grandmother at work. There's a 64-year age difference in both of my grandparents, and we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. They believe when the lights go off, you should be in the bed. That's when the party gets started for me. This morning I was getting up. Why you got those gray pants on? You should put on black pants. All those dignitaries gonna be down there. You should look like you're about. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. My mom, every time I put something on Facebook, my mom's sending a message. You shouldn't say that, you shouldn't do. I have the parents on my back. It's irritating, but it's love. They never got a call saying come pick your child up because my mama had a fist. She could have pitched for the MLB. And it's not abuse, it's called love. And it's acknowledging one thing. And parents, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times y'all don't get credit. And I know a lot of us in our community, we don't give parents enough credit, you know. Sometimes, my mom, we've had conversations now that I'm getting older, and she said, you know, sometimes I wish I would have done this, did this, and you know. And I said, you know what, let me tell you something. You can read every pamphlet, you can read every book, you can take every class. You will never be prepared for children. All right. All we want is some time and to know we're loved. But you have to put some foot on necks to save us.
Sometimes you do, baby.
And I'm 19, and I talk to my friends daily about how we're grateful for good parenting, how we're grateful, how what if we would have done what other people have done, the path we would have gone down. We were grateful for that. But you know what? I'm blaming everybody but to my young people. Stand up, young people.
Stand up.
We can blame the church, we can blame the mayor, we can blame everybody, but you know what? At the end of the day, we the one that have to read. We the one that have to graduate. We're the ones who have to walk that line. Stand up! I see some sitting down. Stand up! I'm almost through. I don't care where you come from, what side of town you're from. Let me tell you something. Everybody has an E True Hollywood story. Everyone has a past. Everyone has been hurt. But let me tell you something. Don't cry because you're hurt, and cry because you just keep on trying. Be careful. Look at every adult. Look around at these youth. Look at them. Look at them. Be careful how you treat them.
That's right.
You're looking at a congressman. You're looking at a governor. You're looking at a president. You're looking at someone who might cut off your 13th check, educator. Be careful how you treat them. If we are the future, why not train us for the present? This was the best scene ever. Mr. John Johnson and DJ Naylor. Y'all may sit down. That was the best image ever. For 13 years, Mr. Johnson is doing, and now you see DJ coming up right behind him. You see Raven speaking on behalf of the mayor. You see Dexter speaking on behalf of the county supervisors. You never know where they might be. But if you don't secure the future by working on the present, you can't talk about us. We're not perfect. My grandmother has this saying, you keep your foot in the road all the time, boy. Because I like to go out and enjoy my friends and everything. Let me tell you something. We're young. We're going to do crazy things. We're going to go out. Y'all went to the Esperanza. Some of y'all still going to the Elks. Thank you for that scholarship, by the way. Where the Elks in the house? I see some Elks. Thank you for that scholarship. Keep on going to the Elks, by they funding my education. Keep on going. It takes people like the Delta Sigma Thetas, Happy 100, It takes people like the AKAs. It takes people like the Sigmas, who I was a member of the Sigma Beta Club. Thank you for that scholarship, by the way. It takes the Kappas. It takes the men on the move. It takes the, what's that slogan? Teach a man, it takes a man to be a man and teach a man how to, however, it takes that. I didn't forget you, Mr. Kelly. It takes the Omegas, too. And you know what? We look at you all. I have a bad habit of saying, I want to be like you. We really want to be like some of you all. To see Dustin Markham walk across, that's just like, oh my, that is black male excellence at its best. To see a Michael Van Beethoven walking, that's excellence at its best. To see Miss Angela Turner, to see Bishop, you know, that's what we want in life. But the only thing I'm asking you to do is to take us by the hand. Come here, Miss Turner. Take me by the hand. Take me by the hand. And lead me. But I said, come here. Young people, she said something real powerful. She said, we have to follow.
That's right, Miss Turner.
There you go.
Thank you, Miss Turner. I have a story about Miss Turner I'm going to tell you in a minute. Young people, get our priorities together. This is the cream of the crop right here. I know each of them personally. This is the cream of the crop. Have to get your priorities straight. I know we want to leave Meridian, everybody. I want to get out of Meridian. Let me tell you something. Have a plan in life. Have some standards in life. My uncle asked me every time I come home, I hate this conversation. I'm almost through. He says, you got a girlfriend? I tell him, Xavier University. She takes all my time and all my energy. Put some priorities, somebody said all your money. Put some priorities in place. There's a story about Mr. and Mrs. Turner, and I love it, and I'm going to use that. On their first date, I got permission to use this. Mr. Turner asked her, he said, when can I see you again? This was on a Saturday night. Miss Turner said in her voice, tomorrow. He said, tomorrow? She said, 11 o'clock, my church, don't be late. When you set the bar, if you're a young, black, educated man with a few dollars in his pockets that's legal, don't laugh. That's illegal. When you're an intelligent, strong, black woman moving forward, making moves, people won't want you. Set some priorities in life. Tell my sister all the time, if they can't help you study, if they can't help you, leave them alone. Obeying your parents is very hard. I don't see eye to eye with some of the things that my folks told me. But I sit in college and I say, you know what? My mama said that. I'm not going to tell her that it'll swell her head up. My grandmama was right. You will appreciate your parents. You will appreciate your community. You will appreciate those teachers who wrote you up. Miss Michael wrote me up for asking a girl for a pencil because she said no talking. If you want to save us, you have to reach out. But reaching means moving. Everybody reach out. Reach out. You see, you moved. You can't reach me if you're going to stay right there and sit down. You can't reach me if you're going to stay back there and just, you have to move to reach. So I ask that as we celebrate Dr. King, as we live in his memory, as we march on and do all of these great things, that you realize something. If you don't make a change, things won't get better. You will keep going to Walmart in fear because you didn't reach out. You will keep wondering, can I send my child to the local party because you didn't reach out. It's about reaching. It's about touching. It's about mentoring. It's about going to schools other than events than football Fridays because gold rings don't bring diplomas. I want to see y'all in schools. I want to see churches having programs for the youth. I want to see you listening. I want you to see us. But more importantly, I want you to hear that young teenage mother. I want you to hear that broken son. I want you to hear those siblings who don't know where their parents are. I want you to see us. And I want you to hear us. May the memory of Dr. King not only live in our minds and our spirits, but burn us to move Burn us to make a difference. Burn us to get some sense in our heads. And burn us to make Meridian, Mississippi a safe place full of productive, highly motivated, and well-poised young people who will take this nation, take this world to the next height. Thank you.